Alrighty, everybody. Happy February 18th, 2024. Appreciate you guys for joining in here on YouTube. We're going to go ahead and cut right into this. We got a marginal risk of severe weather today for southeastern and southwestern Florida. This is going to be for Key West all the way up into Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Homestead area. We have a marginal risk for a tornado or two today. We can actually see here on active radar this morning. We got a line of storms that should miss most of Florida today. The heavier rain should move into to central and southern Florida later on this afternoon and late morning. We do have a special weather statement right now. It is 9:24 in the morning Central Time here. We do have a special weather statement here, potentially for a water spout that is potentially able to maybe move inland here over the next couple hours. We'll watch this. If that does get tornado warned, we will go live for that as always. But other than that, guys, just widespread heavy rainfall going on here in Central Florida. The Daytona 500 today more than likely going to get postponed to Monday or something like that with the washout conditions that we're going to be having here. We could see up to 2 to 3 inches of rainfall for some of these higher, heavier rainfall pocketed storms that do go inland today. But that severe weather risk is for most of the day down there in Florida and maybe into overnight tonight. We could have an isolated severe storm or two with some wind and maybe an isolated brief, quick tornado. But as far as severe weather goes, we've got that today. We've got another severe weather risk for a very, very what's the word I'm going to say here? A very, very unlikely area that doesn't see severe weather too much tomorrow, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. As far as the timing goes for this severe weather today, we'll play this out here. Let me go to my Triple HR model run here for you guys. Like I said, most of the rain, just heavy at times, but steady rainfall up there towards Gainesville, Jacksonville, all the way down to Tampa. The heaviest of rainfall will be down here clearly to the southeastern part of Florida and Miami. But you can see here over the next couple of hours, heavy rain bands move inland. This is all the way to 3, 4, 5 o'clock. The storms should start to die down closer to midnight. We should be waking up tomorrow morning, maybe with an isolated shower or two. Most of this is going to be non-severe for most people, clearly, for most of the day here, but I don't expect them to get the Daytona 500 in today at all. I really don't see that happening. As far as instability goes, our fuel for thunderstorms, it's basically like putting gasoline into a car, except this is fueling thunderstorms here. We're watching for down here into the marginal risk for some isolated. But this is really going to be, the instability is going to be pretty weak instability today, anywhere up to 500 joules per kilogram to maybe 1,000, maybe a little over here in the southeastern part of Miami. But this is around, after lunchtime, 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be watching this if we get any type of severe weather to potentially basically ignite. But that should ramp down pretty quickly once the sun goes down. As far as the overall picture goes, we got another severe weather risk for tomorrow, guys, and this is in a very, very weird area, I should say, at this point. We don't see we don't see severe weather in Central California too much, and for the first time, and I'm trying to think when the last time we had a slight risk of severe weather was. I think we did have one. It was further towards the southern part of California a little bit ago when we had another atmospheric river, but this is another atmospheric river event here. Not too much rainfall like we saw last time down in Los Angeles. But we have a slight risk, guys, for tornadoes tomorrow. This is a 5% tornado risk here in Sacramento, Elk Grove, Stockton, Turlock, Yuba City, Lincoln. Marginal risk and the 2% tornado risk here extends out to the southern part of Redding, Chico, all the way down here into Merced. So we'll be watching this tomorrow to see what unfolds with this. Models are hinting at some weak instability, just enough to maybe fire off some severe weather potentially here in the form of a tornado or two and some wind. So we'll be watching this. Like I said, not very often that we get a 5% tornado risk in the state of California. So we'll clearly be watching this for you guys very, very closely here to see what's going to transpire with this. And so as we go throughout tomorrow, listen here. Here we go. This is around 5 o'clock this afternoon. Actually got some stronger storms coming in. None of these should be severe. It's really tomorrow. You can see these isolated bands around 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow that come through. Then some more showers and storms develop in the afternoon. So we'll be watching, early tomorrow morning to mid to late afternoon for maybe an isolated tornado or two and some damaging wind gusts. Don't expect too much with that. As far as the instability goes with this setup tomorrow, like I said, it's not, it's really not that impressive as far as instability goes, but this time of the year, it doesn't take a lot to cause severe storms to form at all. So here we go into tomorrow afternoon, basically tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. A little bit of a weak pocket here of instability shows up anywhere from 500 joules per kilogram, maybe up to 1,000. if we can get that sun to come out. Temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s here, so we should have we should have that potential there for that severe weather to happen. As far as heavy rainfall goes, I did not show this for Florida, so I'll go back out to Florida here in just a second and show this. As far as rainfall over the next 48 hours goes, pull this up here. We can actually see some snowfall up here. This is also accommodating for some snowfall here in the higher elevations of California. But we can see some heavy rain, some snowfall, maybe isolated pockets of 1 to 3 inches, maybe 3 to 5 inches down here towards the Santa Barbara area with this storm coming in over the next 2 to 3 days. And then down here into Florida, clearly, higher pockets of heavy rainfall as well. Orlando, maybe 2 to 3 inches, so a local 3 to 5 inches. And then down here towards the Fort Lauderdale area, we could see maybe 3 to 5, 5 to 8 inches potentially of rainfall. So we'll be watching that for a potential flood threat. But as far as that goes, guys, that's really the only storm activity we're going to have to talk about until we get to this later part of this week. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here and we can go look at our old-fashioned pivotal weather maps here. So we can talk about what's going to be transpiring. And this is, we're going to start here with the 300 millibar jet stream. This is basically what controls our high pressure systems, our low pressure systems. And right now, not a lot going on. We clearly have, we have our storm system down here to the south here in Florida. Give me 1 second here, y'all. I always forget to turn my little pin app on here. So we're going to get this adjusted really, really quickly here. Alrighty. Let's fix for you guys. Alrighty, here we go. Yeah, other than our storm system that's down here in Florida, our next storm system that's over here in Cali for the week here, we'll be watching throughout the week here for this high pressure ridge to develop. And this is what, if you guys see the cover video for this on YouTube here, this is what this is really going to be mostly talked about is the dominant warm weather that we're about to have, guys. We're going to see the potential for 80s and 90s, mid 90s in western Texas throughout this week. A lot of people here, this is what's called a high pressure ridge. You get a high pressure, it's basically what our heat domes look like over the summertime, except we're dealing with this during February. There's our low pressure system that will bring maybe some severe weather, maybe potentially into Thursday and Friday in the Ohio Valley. We'll talk about that later on here in a few minutes. But just very, very strong ridge here. And what this is going to do is pull in a lot of warm air from the Gulf. Really not any storm activity or anything. It's going to be pretty quiet for most of the time for this week. But a lot of people here in the plains, in the Midwest, into the Ohio Valley, the Southeast here are going to be above average temperatures. And this is really going to continue through the month of February until we get to about March. We'll talk about March in the next couple of weeks or in the next couple of days or so. But temperatures are going to be very, very above average. Could see some 20s and 30-degree above average temps potentially down the road here. So we'll watch this through most of the week. And then once this gets to about Thursday, we will see if this low pressure system that's coming out of California tomorrow and Tuesday to see if this will still have a little bit of energy with it. We do have, for the last couple of days, we've had some slight instability start to pop up here into Missouri, Illinois, and Kentucky. We'll watch maybe for an isolated severe storm on Thursday, overnight into Wednesday night, maybe into Thursday potentially. And then this will move off to the northeast as it goes throughout the weekend. And so after that, we start to talk about next week into the weekend, into the week after that. And there's not much going on. Expect another pretty quiet period through the start of the last week of February, and then we get to the weekend. And so we're going to have to really, really, really watch this. This is something I've been tracking for a couple of days now. We've been watching for a negatively potential tilted trough to come out of the West Pacific. And what this does is it can cause severe weather to a pretty big magnitude most of the time. We're not guaranteeing anybody severe weather right now, but what we're saying is this is something to watch potentially here for, and maybe a bigger severe weather threat down the road as we get into the first week of March and the last weekend of February. So this is never good when we see these start to pop up on models. So like I said, we'll continue to do future updates on this as far as this goes throughout the week into next week, but we could see a pretty big severe weather potential setup as we go into late February, maybe into the beginning of March. But after that, this is, clearly 2 to 3 weeks out in advance. So we're not really going to, we're going to throw this away and kind of discard this for right now. We'll be watching this clearly over the next couple of days. As far as the potential for maybe that severe weather threat on maybe Thursday, maybe Wednesday night, potentially here. Like I said, it's still kind of up in the air because we're still a couple days out, but you can clearly see our storm system, our instability over here in California tomorrow. This will move into the Wednesday, Thursday timeframe here into the central plains and eastern plains and Midwest here on Thursday. Maybe a pocket, maybe a marginal, maybe an isolated slight risk potentially for some damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado or two potentially on Thursday. We'll watch for this pretty closely. The instability is not 100% agreed on all the models yet, so we'll watch this clearly. You need instability to have severe weather, so without this, this is still a question mark, and we're still, like I said, 3 to 4 days out from this. We'll watch this pretty quickly and closely. But we could see an isolated severe weather threat in Illinois, Indiana, maybe Ohio, Kentucky, and Missouri on Thursday. So we'll watch that. That storm system moves off. And like I said, it's really all eyes onto that last week of February. What could potentially, like I said, the models, the European and the GFS have been hinting at something over the next 2 weeks here, that last week of February into the first week of March. We do start to get that springtime temperature change as we go through March. We transition into spring, actually. So we'll be watching this very closely to see if we start to see these bigger severe weather threats come into play, and you clearly see instability picks up into February, maybe beginning of March. So that's just something to show you guys down the road. As far as the bigger story goes, the temperatures, that's going to be the big thing. Temperatures, temperatures, temperatures. This is what's going to be the big storyline for most of this week here. And you can clearly see we still got some colder air. It's pocketed up here into the northern plains, down here in the southeast and northeast. That should push off here by no later than Tuesday, Wednesday for most people. You can clearly see that high pressure really start to take over here. We're going to be dealing with 60s down here into the Louisiana area, up here into the central plains, 70s and 80s and potential 90s into central and western Texas as we go throughout the week here. You can really see, guys, look at these temperatures here. 85, 86 degrees there in the San Angelo area, San Antonio area, potentially getting into the upper 80s as well. We'll be watching that, but this really starts to take off into the southeast and Midwest as we get into Thursday, Friday. And so, if we do have that severe weather threat once again, there should be some pretty decent instability here. We'll look at dew points as well in a minute just to kind of see what we're looking at with that here in just a minute. But you can start to see this, northeast flow here with the ridge moving east, and then we'll kind of go back to an average pattern into the weekend potentially here once that storm system pushes in. But the temperatures, guys, that is going to be the big story. If you want your spring-like temperatures, maybe even some summer-like temperatures for a lot of people, look as we get into the weekend as well. This is Sunday the 25th. Clearly, this is about 7 days out, so this will be a bigger factor into next week if we get severe weather. What these high temperatures do is create instability, and we can get severe weather setups if the conditions are favorable. So this is something we're really going to have to watch, but I don't see these above average temperatures really going away, guys. As we get into the last week of February, we could see 60s and 70s as far as potentially the Canada line. That is how crazy the warm temperature trend is really going to contrast here. So a lot of people are going to get excited for this. I don't really see much of a snow setup for really anybody down the road right now, which is good news. I know a lot of people wanted snow, but I don't see that happening unless, the pattern changes back to below average temperature, something along the lines of that. But you can clearly see just very, very warm temperatures all the way really through the next 14 plus days is what I'm seeing with this here. And then we try to get some type of cold air to work its way into the northeast here. Maybe this will slip in with a Canada high or something like that. Maybe we can get a last minute snowstorm there in the northeast. Who knows what will happen with that? But still pretty average temperatures here in the central plains. But as far as that goes, guys, we'll get back to that warming trend again potentially as well. But you can see the storyline, what this is going to be. I don't see this winter really being in anywhere near. I think this is going to be below average total for the year so far when it comes to snowfall for most of the United States. Snow cover, but the most snow cover I've seen has come out of like California, the Cascades up in the Rockies. So that's where most of the snow has been. If you wanted snow and you live in the Southeast and Northeast and Midwest, it's just not. I don't see it happening this year. I really, really don't, unless something drastically changes at all. But other than that, that's what the weather's going to be going on for the next week or so, guys. I'll continue to post updates on this. One last minute thing I want to jump to really quickly here. The website, guys. I've been talking about this for the last couple of videos. I have an official website up now. Me and my girlfriend, Rochelle, have done nothing but work to get this uploaded. She's busted her butt to get this fixed and uploaded. We are selling merch now. You guys can go check out. Once we start storm chasing, photos will be dropped here. All of my socials are in here as well. If you go to the merch section here, we are selling hats and hoodies and t-shirts. There'll be more stuff down the road as well, but just fill this form out. You can order your stuff in. It's very, very helpful. It helps out the streams. It helps us out a lot as far as donations go when we start to storm chase down the road to help kind of fund that a little bit. But everything's kind of like recycled, so that's what we'll be looking at. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. I should be posting another video tomorrow if I can get a chance to do it. If not, we might just jump into live stream coverage tomorrow morning. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and make sure you guys share it to at least one person if y'all can. We're still trying to hit that 500 subscriber goal. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Everybody stay safe, and I will talk to y'all later.